Hello, my name is David, and this is my CS simulated final video reflection. So basically, after doing the exam, I kind of thought that all the all the topics that was in the exam, I had a pretty strong idea of it. But the only problem for me was doing it within the time limit. So I had to rush through a lot of things, and because of that, I noticed a lot of small mistakes were made in my code. Um, so yeah, I'll start with the first one, the binary tree traversal. So basically here, I got everything right except for two numbers in order. If you see here, in order traversal, I did 148 at the end. Um, but it's actually supposed to be 418. Um, but everything else other than that, I got right. Pre-order, post-order, and like everything in the front of in order. So I think this basically shows that I definitely understand the concept of pre-order, in-order, and post-order traversal. But as I've said, I was like rushing through it, and I think it's like a simple, very simple mistake. Now that I look back at it, it was like, oh shoot, how did I get that wrong? So there's a simple mistake from trying to rush through the problem. Binary search trees. So this was pretty straightforward. I felt like, and it matches exactly like the solution. If you see here, so I think I have a pretty strong knowledge of how binary trees are formulated and how they work. So yeah, this is pretty straightforward for me. Okay, next, inheritance. Okay, so this one I think I kind of struggled with. So overall, so if you see, there's like a lot of mistakes here, and especially on like the object casting problems, there's a lot of mistake. Um, but I'll think for the simple like variable dot method problems over here, um, my mistakes were, I think it were just very simple mistakes because like I was like rushing through everything, as I said, like to try to do it within the time limit. So I didn't use like any paper to trace like where I'm at. I just like did it everything in my head, using like not using paper. So I think that led to some stupid mistakes. So because like I'm not now that I look back at it, I'm just like, oh, like how did I miss that? Like, oh shoot, that was pretty straightforward. So it's like pretty simple mistakes here in the variable dot method problems. And if I like had more time, I think I definitely could have gotten everything right here. But then for object casting question over here, these I got like most of them wrong. Um, I think like I was rushing through it, but I was also like kind of confused of how they exactly work, and I think what I really need to know is like what causes compiler errors and what causes runtime errors, like the difference between them. And so yeah, I definitely need to review like inheritance when there's casting involved. Okay, comparable. Okay, to explain this, I need to explain how I did the problem. My solution is a little bit different than the solution provided because here the solution provided has a field for number of drinkers and total age, right? But what I did was a little bit different because I made a list, like an array list to be exact, and so I initialized an empty list of ages basically, and because instead of updating total age and count every time a person is added, so I would just add the age into the list, because I feel like if you just add it to the list, then the list dot size is equal to the total number of drinkers, right? Um, so it basically does the same thing here. I do the calculate average, so I go loop through the ages list, and then I add the total ages, and then I divide it by ages I cite, which is basically the same thing. But here I did total age equals int, so it like returns like a whole number, and like it returns like a 9.0 instead of 9.5. So all I have to do here is make this a double, and then everything else will be correct. So yeah, I did a different implementation with the list. It still works. A little bit different from the solution. And my logic in the compare to method was I first found the difference. Like first find first find the difference between the sugar content and the other sugar content. And if the difference is positive, that means this sugar content is bigger than the other sugar content, so you turn in 1. And the opposite, return negative if difference is lower than 0. And if and else, then you just do a compare to with the drink name for the string compared to, like alphabetical order. So that's what I did, and then it works. So yeah, this next one, the collections programming. So for this one, I had almost the exact same solution here. But if you notice here, the solutions uses a dot contains to check if the TA hobbies has like the hobbies, but this is like really stupid in my part. I forgot that you could use a dot contains method. So what I did was basically here, I looped through the entire list, and if one of the items in the list equals hobby, then I loop through the entire list again, and then add all the elements in the list. So I basically could have gotten rid of this entire for each loop, and then use a dot contains method, like the solution. So it still works, but it makes it really redundant. And one question I had was, is there really a difference between using a hash set and a tree set here? Because the solution uses a tree set, and I'm using a hash set. So that would be kind of a question for you. Okay, next was binary trees. Let's see here. So basically here, my code looks like pretty different than the solution, but it's actually like really close to doing the same thing. I just have some small mistakes and some checks that I need to like avoid null pointer exceptions. So basically here, I don't know what I was thinking when I was doing this. It should have been if overall new root equals null, then just return true, because an empty, it said that empty tree should return true. So yeah. So this check that I have here is kind of unnecessary. So here, if my logic is if it's a leaf node and the root data is 0, then you just return true, because you like recheck the end, and if it's 0, then that means there was a zero path. So in here I check if root.left equals 0. Then if root.left equals 0, then you return has 0 path with root.left, checking the left root, and then else if root.right equals 0, then you do the same thing. And if none of these cases pass, then it's false, because that means that root.ref or root.right isn't 0. That means there's no 0 path. So this would work, but I would just need to check if root.left data equals 0 and right.data equals 0, because right is like the node instead of the data. So I have to make it root.left.data equals 0. And also I would need to check if root.left or root.right exists outside. So I would have to put an if statement if root.left and root.right not equals null, because if root.left, let's say root.left is null, then I'm trying to check it, that would throw a null pointer exception. So I just need to put that if statements in the outside, and then this code would work. Okay. Next, binary trees. So my code looks almost exactly the same as the solution, but the only thing is that here I turn so I basically turn root. I do this if statement check before calling root.left and root.right equals limit leaves. So this does remove the leaf nodes that are below n, but after it removes the leaf node, it doesn't go back and remove leaf nodes that might have been created from removing the original leaf node. So in the challenge it says like if you remove 12 then 17 becomes a leaf node. Like my code wouldn't go back and remove the 17. So like the solution is like same, but you do call limit leaves on root dot left, root dot right first, and then turn rooted equals null after. So this solution would like remove the 17 after you remove the 12, right? Because it's a leaf node below 20. But mine just removes it, and that's it. So I know that what I need to do is switch this and this, and then the code will be right. So yeah, I think that was the only problem in this one. Okay, so for the last one, linked list. I think I remember in the first midterm, my meeting with you, it was like I said that linked lists and like list nodes were like my greatest weakness. Like it's like very confusing for me. So I made a lot of mistakes here. Overall, I had the right idea in using so if you see the second solution, like mods to check like the index that I'm at and like the current pair that I'm at. So if you see my code that has like I do the mod checks. But like this is the last problem I had like barely any time, so I was like rushing through it without thinking much of it. So I kind of knew that I got it wrong, but so first of all here I called my private helper method, but I don't. So if you see I do front, but I don't have anything for curve pair. This so this throws an error here, so I just need to add like a number here. So I forgot to add a lot of checks that result in null pointer exceptions, and like my .next logics are very off, so this wouldn't work. So here when I created this list, it shouldn't have this bracket here because I'm creating a So here I need to set list to front equal to front and front equal to front.next, and also in order for me to do that, I need an if statement to check if front and front.next exist, but I just completely forgot that part. Also in this while loop, I need a lot more conditions because like I'm doing .next and .next, and that could be null, right? So I need a lot of other conditions, like in the while loop, like cur.next and cur.next is not null, or this would throw a lot of null pointer exceptions for cur.next or cur.next, Okay. And I realize this cur pair variable is very unnecessary. I don't know why I put it. Yeah. So my whole this .next logic in the if statements here like it's pretty messed up. I was like rushing through it without like tracing or like writing down anything. So when I tried tracing again, like didn't work at all. So it should just follow the solution. Like I'm looking at the solution and like I understand it. Like this whole process, I don't think I have time to like go through like specifically, but I do understand what it does, what the solution does now, and basically here I need to update cur2 as well instead of just cur. And also I forgot to put a return statement, so it returns nothing. That there was an error. But yeah, so I understand my mistakes in this problem, and I understand like why the solution works. So I think I'm good for this, but yeah, I just need to. I feel like if I had more time and more time to think about it, then I would have gotten the right answer. It's just I was like rushing through it because I was trying to do it within the time limit, and I think that was my biggest problem and biggest reason in making so many mistakes for this. And yeah, that's basically all I have for the problems. So yeah, thank you.